Well, that's one down. Only 13 more to go. Isn't that some kind of omen or something? I feel like I'm never gonna crawl my way out of this. Just have a drink. Okay. What's on the menu? Don's Own Grog. Don's Own Grog. If it's good enough for Don, it's good enough for me. To the bar. Yeah, I guess I'm there already. Good evening, fuckers. Welcome to another riveting episode of Before the Mast, a show where I bring you cocktails, sometimes exotic, sometimes not, and share a story of my checkered past, sometimes exotic, sometimes not. Didn't we already do a Grog episode or two? We did. Way back in episode 1, we started with Navy Grog. Then in episode 6, we did straight Grog when I climbed a mountain. But tonight, for episode 44, we're going to be trying Don's Own Grog. You might call me repetitive, but it's the month of my birth, so I feel kind of entitled to drink pretty much whatever the hell I want. Now, the Don in Don's Own Grog refers to Don the Beachcomber, a consummate mixologist and showman of unassailable grandeur. His storytelling, on the other hand, is quite assailable. Nobody really knows for sure where he came from or what got him in the business of atmospheric beverages and hangout spots. Because Don the Beachcomber himself gave a plethora of different stories. Whatever. His life. But what is known is that before his freewheeling sobriquet of Beachcomber came about, he was Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant. He adopted the name Don while bootlegging during Prohibition. He opened the first Beachcomber bar in Hollywood in 1933. Don the Beachcomber is widely recognized as the father of the Tiki movement. This particular drink was birthed by him in 1937. Bring on the Globe Bar! For this drink, you will need a blended aged rum. I'm using Pusser's Blue Label. A lightly aged rum. I'm using Mount Gay. Eclipse. And a dark blended rum. I'm using Myers. You will also need blackberry liqueur. I'm using Moritz Tenelt from Switzerland. And Angostura Bitters. Your non-alcoholic ingredients will be Demerara syrup, lime juice, grenadine, and nutmeg. Let's build this bitch. And now shake it like a crying baby. It's probably good. And we're just going to open pour that right into the glass with a gated finish. I'll show you what that means. Gated finish. And garnish with nutmeg. And there it is, Don's own grog. Cheers. That's good. It's not, this is not a fruity tiki drink. It's dry, but you get a lot of the blackberry. That blackberry really shines through. And the nutmeg on the nose really adds something too. Got to make sure you use fresh nutmeg on this. Holy God, that's good. Be careful with these. They go down pretty easily, but they are potent. Too many of these and you might end up throwing up in the back of a taxi. Are there still taxis? Or did millennials kill those too? Millennials kill everything, according to the internet. Or trying to steal a guard's AK-47 because you think it's a squeegee. Cheers, assholes. Speaking of wild, drunken nights, sit right back and listen to the tale of one night in Dubai as experienced by 20-year-old me. This story starts in San Francisco in late 1998, before my second deployment. My best friend Luna and I were out clinking glasses with the Flowmaster and Marlene the Lipstick Lesbian. We found ourselves at a convenient spot where they didn't card my baby face. And well, I might have drank a little too much. Well, I was snot slinging drunk. It's just like your opinion, man. But we piled into the Flowmaster's little car. I can't remember what it was. It was like a Honda or something. And headed for the house. But somewhere along Highway 1, it started. My head started spinning. My stomach was in my throat. The world around me spun in unnatural ways that made me want to shut my eyes. But shutting my eyes only made it worse. It was as though I had fallen off a cliff. And as I reached terminal velocity, I opened my eyes again, hoping, praying that the world had stopped spinning around me. But it hadn't. And I blurted out, "I'm gonna barf!" Not me right now. 20-year-old me in the story. I begged them to stop. I begged them to roll down the window so I could yak out the window. and I was expecting Flo to pull over, but she did not come to a stop. Some lame excuse about no shoulder, horse shit like that. So I just leaned out the window, and everything I have ever eaten since 1978 came roaring out of me. Caught the wind and for a brief second just hung in the air before blowing right back onto the car and me. And I'm pretty sure I got some inside the car too. We pulled up to a gas station and I fell out of the car and stumbled over to the little bucket with the glass cleaner and the squeegee in it. Don't worry, I'll get a squeegee. And that was that night. My ship USS Peleliu had just pulled into the port of Abu Dhabi, and we were given Cinderella Liberty. Cinderella Liberty is where you're allowed to leave the ship and make a complete ass out of yourself, but you have to be back to the boat before midnight. We had 5 hours. I mean, how much can you possibly get into in 5 hours anyway? Well, as it turns out, quite a lot. I went out with my friends Pierce and Beck, and we went to Dubai. Now, Dubai then was not the glittery, überreichlich city it is today. It was just a road that went through the desert, a road in dirt, with a building here and a building there. A lot of cranes. Remember, a lot of cranes. We stopped at a hotel bar first, and 2 drinks in, who should walk in but Senior Chief McDermott, the strict disciplinarian. He had just finished a tour being a recruit division commander at RTC Great Lakes. Back then, RDCs weren't really human anymore. They had been stripped of their emotions and everything that makes a person human. Instead, they replaced it with turning them into a loud, overbearing asshole with a southern accent no matter where they were from, which I found odd. Back then, if you became an RDC, they should have just kept you at the training center. Because once you were an RDC, you were no longer really fit to be back in the fleet, much less the general public. But I digress. He came in and told me that the PRT was coming up, and I shouldn't be drinking because it would make me fat. Leave it to Senior Chief McDermott to ruin a good time by talking about PT scores and ship in general. He asked me how many sit-ups I could do. I told him at least 100. This was a brash move. But I was a brash person. He said he didn't believe me. Well, this turned into a bet. 100 sit-ups right here, right now, and he'd buy a round for the entire bar. Well, I wasn't going to take that lying down. Actually, I would. Because the bar was cheering me on, so I laid down on my back on the bar and Pierce held my feet down. Did I do 100 sit-ups? Hell yeah, I did 100 sit-ups. There were free drinks on the line. Would have gone to hell and back. True to his word, Senior Chief McDermott bought the bar around. Still, none of us really felt like tipping back the ethanol with Senior Chief McDermott. So we moved on. We found an Irish pub in the middle of some back alley. It was named O'Brien's or O'Houlihan's or oh brother. At any rate, we went in. This was a time in my life when I really enjoyed Strongbow, which is like hard apple cider. Every time I ordered it like this. Strongbow! I drank a lot of Strongbow that night. And probably an unhealthy amount of gin, too. But the thing I remember the most about this particular pub is that they had the best mashed potatoes I have ever had in my entire life. They tasted as good coming up as they did going down. Yum. Yeah. Those were the days. Before we knew it, it was time to get back to the boat. And I was seeing triple anyway, and so we got a cab. I sat in the front seat. Pierce and Beck sat in the back. This was a mistake on their part. All the windows were rolled down because homie didn't have AC. And we began the long ride back to Jebel Ali. About halfway there, it crept up on me. That feeling. My stomach, up in my throat. The world around me seemed like it was made of liquid, and I felt like I was on the teacup ride. I told the driver to pull over. "No, don't pull over here," he said. And I says to him, "If you don't pull over, I'm going to throw up in your car." "No, I don't pull over here." Wait, what are you doing?" I had taken my seatbelt off and leaned most of my body out the window. Beck grabbed my belt. Now, most of this I heard about later, after sobriety had returned. Beck was holding on to me while my whole upper body hung out the side of the moving car. And finally it happened. I projectile vomited, but the wind carried it right back to the car. It went all over the side and into the back seat, splattering Beck and Pierce like they had gone to see some fucked up version of Gallagher. You can imagine that. Apparently our driver was unhappy at this turn of events. And all I could tell him was, "I told you to pull over." We pulled up to the security gate of the port facility, and it had a lit overhang, kind of like a gas station. You see where this is going. Well, apparently all that Strongbow had shot me back to San Francisco 4 months earlier. I looked at the driver and I said, "Don't worry. I'll get a squeegee." And I got out of the car. My friends called for me to come back desperately as I walked up to a very intrigued-looking Arab with an AK-47. Only I thought it was a squeegee. Sources say I said, "Excuse me, sir, can I use your squeegee?" as I reached out for his weapon. his partner began to pull his weapon, thinking I was some sort of a threat. Pierce and Beck saved the day, and my ass. They grabbed me by my puke-covered shirt and threw me back into the car. Driver said something to the guards in Arabic, and they let us pass. I don't remember getting on board the boat or going to bed, but apparently I had the good common sense to take a shower at least. The next morning I swore an oath that I would never drink again. Well, that worked out about as good as that one time that I said I would only get one tattoo. This wasn't my first run-in with Jabal Ali, not even remotely. 2 years prior to this incident, the mighty Peleliu pulled in and Luna and I decided just to stay close and drink beer on the pier. Jabal Ali had a bunch of little vendors right there on the pier where you could buy beer and trinkets and souvenirs, and also shawarma. I was hungry and in need of soaking up some of the ethanol, so I hit up the shawarma stand. There, a profusely sweaty Arab made shawarma, salted with his BO. He wiped his brow and continued making the food. Nasty. But at that point I had drank enough to where I didn't really care, so I ate the shit out of that shawarma anyway. Within minutes, my guts mutinied. I ran to the bathrooms, which were just 2 trailers situated on the outskirts of the beer garden. Each trailer had 3 stalls in them. Apparently, my guts weren't the only ones rebelling. There was a long line for both. I hopped in the shorter of the 2 and clamped my ass cheeks together for dear life. I squirmed my way through the line until finally, at the point where I thought all was lost, and I was about to shit myself right then, right there. It was my turn. A guy came out of the stall on the far end. I almost pushed him over trying to make it to claim my seat. My butt cheeks hadn't even touched the seat when my bowels evacuated like a high school at 3:15 p.m. on the last day of the semester. If I'm being honest with myself, it was the most exquisite feeling I have ever felt. 25 years later, and I can still feel that euphoric feeling of my guts letting go of all the evil they had endured. My euphoria quickly turned to horror and shame when I stood up and turned to flush the toilet. I had pooped so hard and so much that the mountain of poop left behind had soaked up all the toilet water. And the toilet paper just stood perched on the summit of the mountain like a snowball. Now I tried to flush. I did. The toilet coughed and struggled, but it just couldn't pull it down. It sounded like an old man with pneumonia struggling to take his last breath. There was nothing to be done. I opened the stall door and left quickly. As I exited the trailer like one of those movies where the hero blows something up and walks away calmly, I heard the next poor bastard yell, "Oh, what the fuck!" Sounded pretty much like that. I disappeared back into the crowd on the pier. I have not shat like that before or since. Yeah. So what's the moral of this story? Don't ever mix Strongbow with gin. The two do not make a cute couple. And for God's sake, stay away from the sweaty Arab shawarma. Cheers, dicks. That's good.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning.
This particular drink, particular. Oh shit, that would have sucked so bad. And we're just gonna open pour that right into Bob Saget. Ah, there we go. Oh, piss. Man, I can taste the salt air already. Oh, sorry, that was me. He said he didn't believe me. Those are my borky friends. Are they done? Nope. No, don't pull over here. Mm. Mm. You hear that siren? That's the chuck wagon going to pick up some fresh meat. I definitely need another one.